Howdy there, and welcome back to Building with the Boys. We have now got issue 16 of Hachette's Build the Titanic, and this will finish out this month's delivery. There's not a ton to do in this one, but what we are doing in this one is going to be a focal point of your model. We are building the first class gym and what will eventually be the skylight of the grand staircase. Now you are able to look down into this and see the grand staircase, and it will light up. So all eyes are going to be on this bit. Now the reason why I say that is there appears to be a problem. I say a problem. It could be a problem if it's not done right. But we'll see if we can address that and if we can fix it. There's not loads to do. Again, this really is a case of applying some decking and some little elements, and that's it. But again, as I said, this will be a focal point of your model, so it's kind of important that you get the decking right on this one, because eyes are going to be drawn to it, so it's not going to be very forgiving. At the end of this one, we're going to have our Titanic chat, and we're going to be talking about the SS.Californian that could have changed the course of history had they have been, I'm going to say it, bothered. But we'll talk about that at the end. Anyway, let's get this part open. Let's have a look at the parts. Let's get into this. Let's get this built. Here are the parts we get with this issue. So this will be the first class gym, and you can see here will be the skylight for the grand staircase. Here is the decking that goes with it, and some of the elements we're going to attach to it. Now you'll recognise this from when we did the officers' quarters, where a funnel is going to go. So we know where two of our funnels are going to go. Now the problem I mentioned was I've only seen one other person build this other than myself, and they had this exact same problem. Can you see where this is bowing up? Now it seems as if this is almost too wide for it, but you need to make sure this section's stuck down. So when you, because everything else is going to be forgiven, this section won't. This section here will not be forgiven. So when you apply this, my advice would be is when you put this on, this is where you need to stick down. This is the part here you need to make sure is flat. Everything else is workable. So you can trim off this side, you can trim off this side if you need to, but make sure this part is flat down, because again, this is where eyes are going to be drawn to. So make sure this section here, right here, is stuck down and stuck well. Use the glue if you have to. I think this is one where you are going to need to use some glue, because I can see that peeling up real quick. It will be slightly forgiven because again you're going to have the fun and some elements around here, but just make sure this is down, because again the one I saw tried to do it, they ended up splitting this and pulling it when they were trying to pull this over to straighten it out. So just start with this section when you stick it down. So I'm going to apply it. I'm going to see what I can do to see if we can get that right so it's not all bowed and sticking up, and then we'll go from there. And then all we're going to be doing is going to be adding these elements to it, and that's going to be it. So this is a nice quick one. It's relatively painless. I mean, I did apply some glue to some of the areas, but you can see that is set down flush, and that's all worked really rather well. So there you go. No bowing up, because again, this is a part people are going to look at. So you need to make sure that this decking, particularly here, as I said, is just done nice. Now it's just a case of applying these elements to the build. So the first one we're going to start with is the swan neck vent, which is 16C. That's this one here, and it's going to quite simply go down here. Now again, this is a big lug small lug part, so it can only go on one way. You can't really get it wrong. So that's where that one goes. Next we're going to apply the cowled vent, which would be this one here. Again, that's going to go in there like that, and like that. That's that one in, and then that should be about it. We've got one more cowled vent, which is going to just pop in there. We should pull that right way around. How am I getting that? Oh no, surely not. Surely not. Oh, there we go. That's me trying to be clever. There we go. So that's the cowl vent, and that is it. That's all there is to this stage. Now we're not using this part in this stage. It will though eventually go here, so I can show you. We'll just fit it anyway because it's the easiest way to store it. That's where it's going to go. I think that just comes in and out, so you know you're okay. but that is where this will go. It's just not going there yet. I don't advise you, I mean, I'm doing this because it's my model, so if it gets stuck or something, I'm responsible for it, but I wouldn't advise you do that yet, because we're going to fit in the funnel and all here. But yeah, so that's where that will go. Now, just for a little geography of the Titanic. Right, so up to this section here, if I can avert your attention here, this would have been the gym. So this section here was the gym. So the weird electric camel would have been about here. The electric horse would have been here. The rowing machine would have gone here. Along here were parallel bars. Here was a punch bag, and just here were the Indian clubs, which again I don't think were a particularly good form of exercise, but please, Dean from Fitness First, don't jump into the comments and tell me I'm wrong. I'm just assuming it looks like a very hokey way to exercise. So that section there, this would have been the gym. So you can see here will be the entrance to the gym, and this would have been the gym along here. Now, this section here, let's return around that way. This would be essentially the ceiling of the grand staircase. So when you look down into this, you will see the grand staircase. Now, part of what made the Titanic's descent to the bottom of the ocean speed up rapidly was when this gave way. When the water poured over and broke this, it was one of the clearest sort of routes into the boat. This absolutely filled up with water. So this water absolutely funneled in here once this gave way. But yeah, there were... people saw it happen. People saw the skylight blow. Sad, but yeah, that's what happened. But so now you know. So this would be the gym here. This would be a walkway that would take to the stairs. And yeah, that's what that would be. So now you know. Now you know what we're looking at. Lovely, lovely little thing. And that finishes out the month. Let's bring everything up and have a look at how we're looking at this stage. If I can get all of this into the frame. So we have our very large boat at this point, a very large section of the boat. Yeah, so that will go there. And then we have our officers' quarters. I'm not going to break the funnel and all that. This is what we've done for this month. So these are the sections that we've built this month. Quite a lot, really, when you look at it like that, isn't it? So we've got the keel and the piece of the hull that we've built. We've got the officers' quarters with the lifeboats on deck now. We've got the first class gymnasium and the stairwell, and then naturally we added the parts to the forward well deck. But that's quite a lot for the month. So it's really coming along now. We're really starting to get some body to this, and yeah. Anyway, let's have a chat about the SS.Californian. So that's it for that one. That's it for part 16, and that's it for this month's delivery. It really is coming along now. I mean, it's a huge difference going from 2 parts a month to 4. And we're starting to roll now. I quite like that. Coming up in 17, I won't be getting that for at least 3 weeks. Will be another funnel. That's what we get in 17. So I can show you. It's no different to the one we already made. I mean, there'll probably be some difference in the height, but ultimately we are building another funnel. It doesn't come with a smoke generator. I don't think it does. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. It doesn't look like it comes with a smoke generator. So I'm wondering how we're going to put that one together. Be interesting to see, won't it? But that is coming in part 17. For those of you that are sticking around for just the instructions, thank you for coming. Please give us a like, it helps us massively. And if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and you can see all of this all the way through to the end. Thank you for stopping by. Those of you sticking around for your history lesson, we're going to talk about the SS.Californian. Now, the SS.Californian was a boat that was in the waters where the Titanic was, but some miles away. Now, what makes the Californian tragic is, had it have responded to any of Titanic's distress calls, which it could have, because it could have, the casualties on the Titanic would have been limited to the men in the engine room, and that would have been it. Everybody else could have got off alive. because the Californian had more than enough capacity to take every single person on board, because it was running empty, had a skeleton crew on it. So the Californian could have, had it responded to any of the distress calls, it could have made it over there, and it could have saved every single person on board. No one needed to die. So why didn't it? Well, it's been disputed for years. It will continue to be disputed for years, and everyone seems to think they know the answer, but there's never really been a definitive answer. They gave a lot of reasons why they didn't respond, and those reasons kind of sound like excuse. They warned, not just Titanic, they sent out warnings to other ships in the area because they themselves had seen the ice, and chose not to continue through it until daybreak. So they were stationary. They heard the distress call from Titanic, but because it wasn't, it didn't have the MSG start to it. It wasn't, bumped up the line directly to the captain. But there's some really weird choices, because they said about Titanic was firing rockets off in the air to get attention. They could see the rockets, but because the rockets were white, they didn't see them as distress calls. They thought, kind of red is what flares are. So because, that's one of the reasons they gave. They didn't see it as a distress call. And what I'd say is, if you don't see it as a distress call, what do you see it as? A firework display at 2 o'clock in the morning? Seems unusual, doesn't it? Check it out. But they didn't. And then even there was an apprentice on board, which, again, I understand he probably would have been dismissed as kind of boy doesn't know what he's talking about. But he looked through the binoculars and he could see the Titanic, and he said it doesn't look right, and he could see where it started to go, that the lighting was dipping under the water, and it was basically the ass of the boat was coming out of the water. He said it doesn't look right, and they said, well, no, it's we'll check on them in a few hours, because I think this is part of it as well. You can see even with the Carpathia, the messages that went backwards and forwards, the Carpathia and the Titanic. Even the Carpathia didn't realise just how badly hit the Titanic was. Now, they did book it, and the Carpathia, we'll talk about that another day. The Carpathia did risk a lot to go out and meet the Titanic where it did. But even then, they were saying to Titanic, are you going to, suggest they meet them halfway? Are you going to head south? And it's like, no, we ain't heading anywhere. Our propellers are out the water. We're not going anywhere. We are going to the bottom of the ocean. That's the only place we're going. But California did nothing. It just didn't. They made some really half-assed attempts at communication. They had a Morse code lamp they flashed on board, and when Titanic didn't respond, because Titanic wouldn't respond, because of what was happening, they wouldn't. No one was looking for a Morse code lamp twinkling in the distance. So just terrible. It just could have been. It had the Californian acted and gone, you know what, we better go and see what's up, because how many weird. Again, I understand if it was like, well, the message didn't have MSG at the start of it. The rockets were white, they weren't red. Okay, that's fine. But let's look at it all together. So the message hasn't got the MSG to it. Now they're firing rockets. Your apprentice has just said the ass end of the boat is out of the water, and no one's responding to your Morse code lamp. Wouldn't that be enough to go, we better go check it out, we better go look? But they didn't. And they said that they had no idea it sank until they heard the next morning. Like, Jesus. So all those people could have been saved. It's sad, but true. And it's hindsight's a hell of a thing, isn't it? And I'm sure it wasn't like, I don't care, let them all drown. I'm not saying that's what Californian did. But I don't know, maybe it was just a jaded old captain that was like, oh, I'll be fine. He probably heard it 100 times before that someone was letting on water. They're like, yeah, well, you'll be fine, won't you? You'll get there, you'll get to port eventually, you don't have to patch it up. I don't think they realised, no, we have torn an enormous hole in the side of the boat. We are going to the bottom of the ocean the next couple of hours. But they didn't. Carpathia was the only one that responded. There was a third boat, well, a disputed third boat in the area, but again, that's a story for another day. A boat that claims it wasn't there when a lot of people claim it was. That again could have helped Titanic and didn't. But that's a story for maybe next month. Next month, along with the funnel, I know we are doing more parts of the hull. I know we've got a lot more bits and pieces coming for the decks. We've got more coming for the forecastle as well. and lots of fun stuff. With regards to stories on the Titanic, I don't know yet. We'll see what we get to, but we'll address a big hitter as well. So there are the big hitters that haven't been spoken about yet. The captain. I'm never going to speak about the captain. The captain. We'll talk about the captain. Issue 140. We'll talk about the captain. I think that's where he deserves to be. So issue 140, we'll talk about the captain. But next month we'll either talk about Ishmael, which I think we will. I think we'll go with Ishmael next month. So we'll definitely talk about Ishmael. And we will be watching SOS Titanic. That will be next month's movie. So if you want to watch along in time for that one, you can. SOS Titanic. Find yourself a copy of it. That is what we're going to be watching. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us massively. And remember to hit the like button. We've got lots of good stuff coming up. So we should be damn near the end of Ecto 1 this month. We've got more Disney Doll's House, which is due next week, if that's your thing. We have got 2 packs of R2-D2 we haven't built yet, so that will be happening in the next week or so. We've got pack 8 of the Root Master on the way. We've got more Iron Man. We got everything. We've got a lot coming, we really have. And also tomorrow, Oscar's Hachette Marvel Legends books. We will have the next 2 of those on the channel for review. And we will be doing the weekly catch-up as well. There's a hell of a lot of good stuff there. So, yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and come along and watch it all. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next one.